Guys, welcome again for another episode of our Wise Book Reviews. Today, one of the biggest scripture documents that inspire millions of people throughout history. It was written by Lao Tzu. There was a keeper of knowledge of the Tzu kingdom in the 6th century BC, and of course the book they call is Tao Te Ching. Now, Tao Te Ching, Tao, a massive philosophy, spiritual philosophy, has been developed around this book, and since the ancient China, humanity has been adopting these teachings that have shaped and changed millions of lives throughout the world. Now we're going to look at, of course the book is massive, so we're going to just look at, really have a snapshot from the main things, from the main point that the book is actually focusing on. And I'd like to open it with the 3 main concepts that the book is based on. Those are simplicity, patience, and compassion. Now, think about that. Simplicity of action and thoughts, right? Simplicity means easiness in life. Patience towards yourself first and others. And compassion, the same. One of the biggest things that the book actually focuses on and emphasizes is that before moving to manifest and shape a reality outside ourselves, we need to master ourselves. I mean, really, the mastering of the self is probably one of the, if not the latest, I mean, the highest point of development, which probably could be the enlightenment, but just before that, the full mastery of the self in deeds, thoughts, and emotions, and words. That's what really creates a superhuman, a human in a God-like image, right? So, in order to do that, we need to stay in stillness. What does it mean, stay in stillness? Don't move like there's a bomb there. Don't move because it's going to explode. Do nothing. No. It means that we need to be before do stuff. And many books throughout the East, the West, mystical books throughout times said the same thing, refer to the same thing in different ways, but the same thing. You be first. And how to be, how to transcend the mind and be instead of do. Well, there's only one thing: be still. Be in stillness. Take a little time each day when you forget who you are, when you forget what action have you done, what you have to do after, who are you with. If you owe something to someone, if someone owes something to you, you just let it all go, and just you connect and try to discover yourself deeply. And that's for sure is the path towards a deeper discovery of the self. And throughout all this deep inner work, you start realizing that there's nothing lacking out there. I mean, over there's nothing lacking. And when you realize that the world is all perfect as it is, the wholeness around you will belong to you. You start understanding how good you fit and how things are perfect as they are. That you don't need to change anything outside you, just yourself. Now, as we know, right, probably I'd say every being is seeking happiness. Now, some of us will do stuff that they quite easily understandable towards happiness. Some other people, they may do stuff that they are a bit, let's say, out of the schemes or maybe harder to understand. But the main and the long-lasting goal is happiness. Now, how can we find happiness when we have lots of lots of things, that have shaped our lives so far. Well, that's why many experts goes and break down the factors that they can contribute and they can affect our way to perceive happiness. Now, having said that, I'm not saying that, I'm not telling you that happiness is not reachable by anyone. Of course it is, but considering the circumstances, family, society, culture, traditions, all sorts of stuff, upbringing, and experience that you had in life, the way you perceive happiness and the level is different. In fact, there's one expert, it's called Sonia Lubomirsky, that divided happiness factors in different things. Like, for example, happiness depends 50% on genetics. Now, what does it mean, genetics? That's probably something really in our DNA that we carry from our parents and even more ancestors throughout our lineage, right? But then, of course, we can change that. Now, this 50%, if you think about it, is a big slice of a cake. It's half of a cake. Now, the good thing is that there's another 40% that belongs to us. It depends on our direct control. We can influence it and change it throughout our control. We have control of it, 100%. And that's the control of our thoughts, of our mind. The control that I've spoken when reviewing our books. So we're talking about this. And only 10% of our happiness is given from material stuff, from possession, from whatever it is. So that's why, but of course it's probably the easiest one to get, especially, if you get something, like it could be, going out to the restaurant. It doesn't mean having a Ferrari. So having out at a restaurant, you'll think why so many people are obese and they actually eating when they shouldn't. Well, because it's quite affordable to most people going out and having a feast on a dish. And forget about thinking about, I'm going to work on my mindset, changing my thoughts, getting my control in my life, forget about my past, forgive about all the people that they damage me. I just want to have that pizza, and maybe I ordered a double pizza, and then I have the dessert, and that's it, instant pleasure, right? But that's unfortunately is not going to bring you happiness, it's only 10%. So moving on, the only important thing is also that happiness cannot be reached if you always cling in something. Now think about a runner that is, when he finishes runs, he has his heartbeat raised up, and he will be like, soon, really soon, he will slow down and go back to the normal breathing, the normal heartbeat. Now imagine if this wouldn't happen. What would happen to the runner? I mean, it would be like in anxiety for all the rest of his life. So many of us live our life in a complete state of stress, worry, anxiety, and looking always in the future because now is not good, and now I'm not doing good enough. And what's next? And what I'm gonna do next? And because the other guy is better than me, and because I know that when I get that stuff, then I will be happy. No. Life happens. All life. That's one of the big concepts of the Tao Te Ching. All life happen within a second. Now, you see the word a second right now that I'm delivering to you right now? A second. Throughout this second, all life happen. What does it mean? That the richness of the power that we have to shape, to change our perception, our mind, therefore our direction in life, it's in every breath we take, in every instant we have. So at the end of the day, the longest life or the shortest amount, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Some people say, oh, come on, life happens if I live 100 years. I'm telling you, and not just me, but reviewing the Tao Te Ching teachings, that there's no difference on a time level, because it's just a feeling, of a click of a finger or 100 years. Because it's how deep you live that moment. If you live miserable, you can live 300 years, right? If you live in anxiety and worry. And so, in order to change, you have to be aware. Now, most of the time, I meet people and I talk, and it happened that the many people, like myself sometimes, I feel like, oh, look, I'm not feeling good today because, there's this thing that bugger me off, these things that I don't like. Well, and at the beginning, I was looking at a really quite a discomfortable aspect that I really wanted to get rid of. I'd say, come on, just stop bitching about these things. Well, the reality is that if that thing is actually biting you like a, annoying mosquito, is actually good. It's the awareness of positive negativity. That's what they call it. So what does it mean? There's something that you shouldn't do, or something that you should change, or something that is not really right, or whatever, that is not in alignment with your direction. Now, and that's negative. Now, why is it called positive? Because you consciously decide to take it as a learning. You use it towards your awareness to move your action, to move your thoughts, therefore your action, towards the right direction. And simple. So, see, another important thing is that, having said that, each of our reaction is a reflection of ourselves outside. It's always like that. It's unbelievable. I mean, we're talking to people, how we relate when we are in a car, waiting at a traffic light, when we are at the restaurant waiting for a dish, when we are doing something, when we are doing an exercise, even we relate with ourselves, it's how we relate to the world, and vice versa. And just as, again, Martin Luther King said, probably from a teaching of Dr. Ching, he must have for sure read it too, don't look at your ladder. It becomes too overwhelming. Look at the next step. Now, modeling is really important. If you want to become successful, you might want to model people, mentors, that they achieve what you want to achieve, but they might have taken 20, 30 years to do that. Now, the important thing is that if you model, you have to remember not to compare yourself to others. So take the little step. That's what I'm saying. If you compare to others and say, oh, I want to be like that sometimes in too little time, setting goals, big goals in too little time can be overwhelming. And how to avoid that? Just focusing on each day, little step, and don't bang yourself. Don't bang yourself if you haven't done that little step. Just do a little less. It's still okay. Sometimes we just need to take care of ourselves. Sometimes we need that rest. And most of us say, oh, rest is unproductive. Rest probably can be more productive if it's taken properly than 10 hours of unconscious work. Yes? So be careful. Look after yourself. That's another really important concept. And, I'll leave you with this one. This quote that I'm going to read from Confucius, one of the other really famous and spoken master of China. He said, when you fully realize that everything continuously changes and you learn how to flow with it, you will be in constant happiness. Now, when you as a being realize that you have no control of most of the thing, because everything is in continuous change, you will start to adapt to the reality as it presents to you, and you will be in constant happiness. It is possible. I met people that they say, well, are you ever, I've never met you. I told to them and say, I never met you sad. I say, what is your secret? Share me, please. Share with me your recipe to continuous happiness. Now, continuous happiness doesn't mean state of ecstasy, all crazy, they jump around and they go super enthusiastic. No, it just means that state of bliss, the state that whenever they meet someone, they have automatically the smile on their face. When they're doing something, even if they probably don't enjoy it too much, they accept it. When they speak to someone that maybe they don't want to speak, but they ended up speak with them, they accept them. That's what it comes to love, which is unconditional acceptance. And this is important. Again, like Gandhi said, be changing the world, think about that. Change comes from the Old English word cambium, which means to become. So become something. Without any change, you wouldn't be any butterflies. Only, ugly caterpillars. So some caterpillars are beautiful anyway, but think about the metamorphosis of a butterfly. And that's it. And also one other thing. world nowadays is based on competition, right? And think about that. Competition has been a word that has been associated with kind of a more negative meaning. Well, the reality is that competition comes from the Latin word competere, which means coming together. I think about that. Is it coming together bad? Not at all. So it flipped the meaning completely on the opposite side. And if people come together like Marco Aurelius said, we can create wonders. So whatever you're competing with someone, just talking, relationship or business, yeah, compete in business. It means, but remember that means coming together to serve even better the world. Please guys, these are really deep teachings, and if I was a bit too fast and maybe not really, you haven't assimilated the concept quite well, please replay the video. This is really I mean, I try to summarize a book that probably, I don't know, I haven't counted them, because when I read them I just probably 1,000 pages and stuff like that, with all the teaching also aside from it, from just the handbook itself. I'll try to summarize it in 10 minutes, and please, these are teaching that they shape the humanity, all the biggest, from the biggest sages, the biggest saints, master, entrepreneur, successful people, actors, singers. They know this, they study this, so please, these are really, really immortal teaching. I hope you have a good day, and I inspire you, please. I know the people over there that they probably won't find much time to read all the Tao Te Ching, but they might find time to listen to this video and this guy talking for 10 minutes. So please, share it if you like it, and I love you all. Have a good day. I'll see you soon.